Oh, welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and today's episode we're joined by a very special guest, current professional hockey goaltender Sam Best. Sam most recently played in the Southern Professional Hockey League last season with the Macon Mayhem after finishing his 4 years at UMass Boston NCAA D3. And even he had a stint in the NCAA D1 with AIC the year before that. And then before he got into the college game, he played juniors in the North American Hockey League with the Corpus Christi Ice Rays, the USPHL Premiere with the Charlotte Rush. And then even before that, he was with the Governor's Academy and prep school. So I'm really excited to have you on, Sam. And Sam's joining the Quad City Storm for camp this year, but he's also signed to the Carolina Thunderbirds in the FPHL, the Federal Prospects Hockey League. So I'm really excited to get you on, Sam. So welcome to the show, Sam Best.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. Happy to be here.
Yeah, of course. It's been I want to thank to start this off, I want to thank Liam Murray for setting this up. Like I've been trying to get you on for probably the last year. So like it's been good to have Murray as a connection to get you on, but I'm super excited to have you on.
Yeah, Liam's an old roommate of mine, so we go way back. Great guy.
Oh yeah, absolute beauty. That's for sure. But usually I like to start like from the beginning of your hockey career and then work our way down to where you currently are. So grew up in Massachusetts over there. So like what was it like growing up in Massachusetts? Like when did you start playing hockey and your youth hockey over in Massachusetts?
Yeah, so started out really young. I was probably like 5, 6 maybe, and I think we all started out playing out. So I was a defenseman. I think it was in my first year. So basically got a penalty, and I was the type of kid who couldn't sit still and freaked out in the penalty box. And I'm like, what can I do to never do that again?
Yeah.
So if I could thank that ref today, I certainly would. But that was he's usually like the goalie gear or whatever. But no, for me, it was just that penalty. I'm like, I don't want to ever sit in this sin bin again. So yeah, from then on, goalie from a young age, not always the approval of the coaches. They were saying like my skating wouldn't be developed, but I would be a goalie for one team, then play out for another. But yeah, I didn't do like the AAA route. I just basically bounced around from youth hockey, whatever select team was closest nearby. Did a bunch of like the dual state Huskies at the time, Red Rangers. It was called Middlesex Islands at the time now. So that's how it started.
Yeah, and like youth hockey is like really when you start like growing the love of the games. Like, do you have like any memories that stick out to you where it's like where you this is like a pivotal moment in my career where it's like I fell in love with the game and this is what I want to do.
Just like the camaraderie right away.
Yeah.
Like being so I'm from Woburn, Mass. I would always play with my town. It would be one town team, one select team, and I mean just seeing the guys grow up like with your age, it's pretty special. And eventually got to play with them in high school. But one memory for sure, I think it was in my first set of goalie pads, the pitcher. But I got to play on the garden ice just like a just. But I'm like, wow, this is unbelievable. Like 100% a core memory. I'm like, I had no idea what I was doing up there. I think I had like the old TPS like in the pads. I'm like, yeah. Like, I remember getting dressed. I didn't even get dressed in the locker room. We got dressed in like the benches before the garden got renovated. So I'm like, yeah, I still remember that. Remember the walk in, and yeah, just great time.
Yeah, you're just out there like no stress in the world, just having fun playing the best sport in the world. Like there's nothing better than that. And then you start that love of the game and like begin your career going into juniors, then college, and then professionally as well. So like throughout like youth hockey, like what are some of the organizations you went through? And like I know you said like they're all over the place, like you're going to anywhere you can. So like what were some of those organizations like and really develop that fun in you?
Yeah, I mean, so I had a couple of sets of pads growing up, but I just remember I had these. They looked like they were custom. They weren't. It was like the Philadelphia color scheme, so they were bright orange, like pumpkin pads. But I got those for my town. But then I would play on like a bunch of select teams, like I think it was like Middlesex Courier, and a maroon and white team completely didn't match at all. But we run from like one skate like in Woburn, drive 30 minutes to like in Arlington or Wilmington nearby, and still like be half dressed, be a home dresser, but just like I mean, no matter where I was, it was just seeing the puck, having fun with the guys, and a lot of great memories with the parents too, taking rides to the rink, and there was, I mean, you're going to school and playing hockey at that point. There's nothing better to do.
Yeah, the road trips are definitely the best part about like growing up because you're just going to the hotel with the boys and you're playing like mini sticks in the hall in the lobby. Like the road trips are like what makes everything so special because like you don't really get to travel like if it wasn't for hockey and you're traveling so many different places, different states. So you definitely gotta enjoy the time with the boys and the camaraderie there.
Oh yeah, 100%. Wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, exactly. But then you play one year of high school at your hometown's high school. So like what was that like before going into prep school?
Yeah, so it was actually 2 years. I played one game my freshman year. I don't know if it
Gotcha.
got logged, but I think we won two games that year. And we had two senior goalies. So I was just riding the bench, practicing hard. And then the very last game of that year, I got a chance to play. And that was one of the two games we won. I'm like, all right, that's something to build off of. So then next year, we had a three-head race at the beginning. We weren't sure. And somehow I got a shutout the first game, and we ended up making history that year, not losing a league game for the first time in school history. So that kind of set me up for that transition to prep school, which riding high from a great season at Woburn and just a completely different animal at prep school. At the time, like I was supposed to repeat, ended up not repeating to have another year of juniors. So all the cards fell where they should have, but just the maturity, the wealth of talent in the ISL, especially at that time, it was like even now, but like Thayer, Rivers, like Nobles, you have NHL draft picks, and I'm like, it's a lot different than facing Winchester and Burlington Super 8.
Yeah, for sure. And like you just get that like maturity and like obviously the game's faster and everything like that. So like what were some of the things that you had to learn about yourself that because you had to mature quickly, especially if you're playing at that level. Like, what were some of the things you learned how about yourself, not just as like a goalie, but like as a person as well?
Yeah, so I lived in a dorm. I think I just turned 15. So I moved away from home, and that was a process in itself. I've never
Yeah,
lived away from my parents for an extended period of time. Yeah, I was close by. I was only like an hour and change away, but I would live at school and quickly developed that I'm like, all right, I need to be way more time organized and, figure some stuff out, plan out homework, class schedule, eat right. No one's watching over your shoulder like a hawk. But yeah, it's just it, it was a steep learning process, but it happened quickly, thankfully. It was probably took 2 weeks, and then I, got into a nice routine. It's all about just like keeping busy, I guess, is the best way to say it. There was never a dull moment. Luckily, in my dorm, my school, the Governor's Academy, very small school. I think I had under 90 kids in my graduating class. So I was thrown into a mix being a junior of trying to learn the entire school where everyone was trying, like, they already knew, like, all right, Sam's the
yeah,
new kid type of thing. So that was really helpful, just having like a name and face basis, even with the student body and the teachers, of course. But yeah, it's just the experience of having like even like the dorm. I had 25 guys and we were having, sleepovers every night.
yeah.
It was the best, and definitely developed some lifelong friends along the way outside of hockey. So that helps.
Yeah. I think it's way better if you go through like that change quickly, rather if it just like builds and builds and builds, like because like you have to if you're gonna perform, you have to be able to have like that good routine, like know what to eat. Like you can't be eating like junk food, like fast food all the time, even though we all want to at some points, but like you can't do that if you're gonna perform. So it's like it's better to learn quickly than to just be able then just have like everything just continue to build and build, and you don't really learn until the end of the season.
Yeah, it was definitely thrown to the fire, and it was either adapt or die. Because
Yeah.
I didn't want to go back to Woburn. I was happy to finally be at Governors.
Yeah, exactly. But like, what was your time like at Governors? And you played 2 years there. Yeah, you played 2 years there before going to the USPHL Premiere. So like, what was your time at Governors like, and just like the organization, like, and then like some of the teams that you played, and like how you were able to like develop further in your game.
Yeah, so I wish I had more time at Governors. Basically, is the short answer of that. But it was probably two of the best years of my life at the time. I was like, this place is awesome. I don't want to end, just from the classroom sizes to the people to I went back the other day, and just one of my keychains broke, so I got a new keychain, and
Yeah.
the teachers and faculty still remember me. I'm like, I haven't been here in like 9 years. This is awesome, you know. So just like it's really a great community to be a part of for life, honestly. But yeah, like just like the teams we would play would, you know, like we played a Kimball Union out of conference. We played a Thayer twice a year. Belmont Hill. Brooks was our rival. We were inched them out my senior year in overtime, which was one of the best victories of my time at Govs. But as a team, we were like a 500 team treading water in a very tough league, which was, you know, a lot of guys got disheartened because of, all right, like we're not easily winning these games. Like we're fighting and clawing these like
Yeah.
2-1 games, barely losing, barely winning type of thing. So like the highs were really high, but like some of the lows were really, it was uh it was challenging at that point, coming from a season when I was at Woburn, like we basically won every game. I'm like, oh, this is how it is. It's like now learn that pretty quickly. That's a battle every night when it's a game on Wednesday and a game on Saturday. Recovery was that much more important. And yeah, it was just a stepping stone. I always knew I wanted to play juniors afterwards, but I would say that definitely set me up for a nice junior run.
Yeah. And so like, what was that game like? That was like one of the one of your best games, best times at Governors. Like, what was that game like? And like, how did that game end? And like, just like being in the moment in that game.
Yeah, it was I'll never forget it. So last five or so games of my senior season, we have a pretty large senior class. Most of the guys have been there for 4 years. And again, like I said, we're like a 500 team. Like, oh, we can almost get these guys, but we haven't got them in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And we're sitting in the Brooks away locker room, and our assistant coach starts giving us a little pump up speech, and we're like, okay. And their like warm up track right before you come up for the warm up starts playing. I'm like, oh my god, this is a storybook. Like we're winning this game by 100. You know, this is unbelievable. Like everyone's like fired up, like ready to run through a wall, basically. So really tight game. Um, I think it might be like 1-0 beginning the second, and first shift, senior captain takes the biggest hit of his life. I don't know how he got up. He after the game, he's like, "Yeah, I was out. Like I literally got knocked out." And he shook himself awake, and that was like the biggest morale boost, because he was the heart and soul of that team.
Yeah.
Like he could score a goal, but he's also gonna like protect everyone on the ice type of guy. So after that, I'm like, okay, we fought back, and Tao Ishizuka gets a nice goal. Third period, tie at 1-1, and it was pretty. I want to say it was pretty close to ending in overtime. It was like a 5 minute period. I think at the time it was 5-on-5. Either way, if it ended in overtime, it's a tie. And we're like, we don't want to tie these
Yeah.
guys.
No, we're not doing that.
No, no. So either way, somehow find a way, puck goes in the net, and I don't know what I did for the first 10 seconds. I feel like I jumped 10 feet in the air, but I just remember sprinting. I probably fell down like the blue line, and just like jump as hard as I can in the pile, hugging my goalie partner. And yeah, that was the moment, I would say, it goes. We had a couple overtime victories, but beating our rivals in their barn, can't beat that.
Yeah, especially when you're a 500 team and you're battling every single game every single day to get those wins, and then you come across your like biggest rival, and then you end up winning it in overtime. Like, there's no better feeling, and just have that storybook ending too. Like, there's nothing better than that.
Yeah, so that closed the chapter on Govs with a nice little punctuation mark, you know.
Yeah, exactly. But then after your time at Gov, you went to the Charlotte Rush in the USPHL Premiere, where you played 21 games, the 1.6 goals against average, and a 940 save percentage. So, like, what was that transition going from prep school hockey into your first year of junior hockey?
Yeah, so honestly, it was kind of tough because like I just Governors was known, still is, as like an academic powerhouse.
Yeah,
So I had my guidance counselors being like, "You got to apply to colleges, you know, for a backup plan in case like hockey doesn't work out." And I'm like, "I'll do it, but like I'm telling you, I'm going somewhere. I'm not going to college right away. Don't
yeah,
worry, I'll go, but I'm not going yet." So like Joe Bobruskis wasn't the happiest with me as I was delaying that decision for him. But yeah, I didn't have a team until the like 2 days before I reported to training camp for the Charlotte Rush. So I'm sweating bullets all the time. Like, oh no, it'll work out. Like something will fall into place, and just nothing happened. I'm like, all right, just trust the process. Get a call from Ryan Crothers, and he's like, I want you to come down here. I'm like, all right, send me the paperwork. I'm coming down.
here we go.
So yeah, I was had my bags packed, was just waiting for that phone call. So reported down there. Definitely the best decision of my life. It's been a lifelong friend since. But it was definitely a change of pace from prep school. It was just bigger bodies, more mature guys. It was different in the sense of a different style of hockey, I guess, from like maybe the Northeast down south.
Yeah,
But it wasn't a cakewalk by any means. We just had a very good group of guys, a lot of tier two guys that came back because they love the Charlotte culture so much. So we had a pretty special team that year.
yeah, and like when you're on a team like that, like there's so many memories that come along, especially when you're winning games. Like everyone's having a good time. It's fun going to the rink every day. So, like, what are some of those memories from your year at Charlotte to really like boost that morale and everything like that?
Yeah, because coming from Governors, I was like, all right, like we're fighting and clawing for every inch of a win we can get. And at Charlotte, it was almost like we won the game before the game even started. The way we
Yeah,
walked in, the way the culture was. And I mean, like just everything was fun. Like I would wake up at, I think I still have the alarm set on my phone. It was 5:15 every day, just the way I lived that far away from the rink. But we had to be at the rink by like 6:30 or whatever. And I'm like, this is fun. I'm not tired. I'm like, we're doing this. We're living the dream right now. No school. That's not a thing right now. We're just waking up, practicing. Then we have either a homestand or a road trip, and nothing was really close for Charlotte. It was, couple-hour bus trip, and we would have the elite team with us. So every seat was packed. You're shoulder to shoulder with a guy. But I mean, like I could speak about anything. I could speak about off the ice culture. I could speak about being a rookie in Charlotte and just having a great vet presence and how they carry the team, and just obviously all the wins that came with it, and just the culture that we built and that came before us, but also helped to really establish what Charlotte is now. And yeah, a fundamental building block of my career.
yeah, and like I think culture is like the biggest thing when you look at like those successful teams, and like the best years that guys have is when you have like a good culture and everything. It's like how much can culture change, like having that positive culture, like how much can that change like the team morale, and just to have everyone just be in the right place, like buy into the systems, like how important is it to have a culture like that?
Oh, it's night and day huge.
Yeah,
So like we were like Ryan Crothers, New York guy, treat us like the New York Yankees. So if you're 5 minutes early, you're late type of
yeah,
thing. So everything's 15 minutes early. You look presentable. You're wearing the same outfit. you you're a gentleman off the ice type of thing, and if you're not, you're gone. You're replaceable, and he made that pretty clear from the get-go that there are 25 other guys that I could get here that want to be here just as badly as you do. So that really that made me put my suitcase by my bed. So the first thing I saw when I woke up every morning was seeing my suitcase. Last thing I saw going to bed was a suitcase. So I knew placeable any moment. But from a culture standpoint, I mean, it's why we could do what we were doing on the ice. It was the practices were so hard that the games were easy, if that
Yeah.
makes sense. It was
Yeah.
just everything to a T. Like if you don't, like we're doing suicides. I remember one time I stopped about like this far away from the blue line, and that wasn't good enough. So I had to do it again and make sure I would go over the line this time. Every I never made that mistake ever again. I'm like, but that's what bought into the culture, and I mean, it definitely changed my perspective on not just the game but of life.
Yeah, it definitely helps you like realize that like you're easily replaceable, even if it was at the junior level. Like you're still replaceable at the junior level as you are at the pro level, and then obviously college you have a little more leeway, but like you're still someone can come in and take your spot like that. So like just to have that system in place like breeds success, and obviously with how good of a team you guys were in Charlotte, like that you can easily tell that the culture and just everyone buying their into the system is what made you guys so successful.
Oh yeah, for sure. It was just a blessing to be a part of. It was a bunch of guys. It was two teams operating as one, and unfortunately, we both came up short that year. So the lasting memory will always be we both wanted one more win each,
Yeah.
and but I mean that definitely helped us get to where we are today, and just carry us on in life in general.
Yeah, for sure. So like after that year in Charlotte, you went on to play in the North American Hockey League with the Corpus Christi Ice Rays. So like what was that transition going from the USP to the NAHL and like getting that opportunity?
Yeah, so luckily Ryan Crothers, he left Charlotte. I want to say it was around January when I was in for the playing for the Rush. Joined the Chicago Steel as a head coach, and then he went to Corpus Christi the following year, and he brought a bunch of the Rush guys. And we were told like, all right, we're like the culture pieces. So like, all right, like that's easy for us. That's what
Yeah.
we're used to. And I mean, it was definitely a big jump at first. I remember I got invited to the main camp, had a pretty solid showing to what I would have preferred, and then the All-Star game, whatever you want to call it, the last game, got shelled. I'm like, all right, this is it. My time's done. He's got his team type of thing. So I have the meetings. Some of the Rush guys are in front of me. They're smiling, walk away. I'm like, good for you, but I'm like, I wish I could be with you
Yeah.
another year, type of thing. And some you see some sad faces obviously along the way. And it's my turn, and I'm just shaking in the meeting the whole time. You can see it. He goes, "All right, well, you're not gonna do that again, right?" I'm like, "No, I promise." So he's like, "All right, come to training camp." And I mean, training camp that's a whole different story for in itself. But yeah, it was the jump was insane playing in the NAHL South, from basically fights every night to pucks in deep, crashing bodies in front. You have no space, fighting through screens, just the whole works. It felt like a professional game, especially with the crowds that we had. Like at in Corpus, we probably averaged realistically 3,000 to 4,000 fans every night. Not knowing half the hockey knowledge, a
Yeah.
normal hockey fan in Massachusetts would know, but just here for a good time, some goals, some hard hits, and the occasional period fight.
Gotta love that. And like that's all you hear about, like especially a couple years ago, is like how crazy like the Null South is, and how physical it is. Like there's so many fights that come out, and like everyone has so many stories that come out of it. Like what were some of those stories from the Null South?
I got an interesting one. So training camp, we'll tell you the training camp story. So I'm going down, our rink's getting renovated, so we go to Omaha. So we're there for 2 weeks. We're waking up early, 5:30, 6 o'clock wake ups, having 2 sessions a day. I'm falling asleep at like 7:30, 8 at night, and just doing that cycle for 2 weeks. I'm like, man, like I must be working really hard. Like I am passing out at 8 o'clock. I'm like, all right, good for me. So I'm battling. There's still 4 goalies on the roster. I'm like, all right, like nothing's set yet. I'm like, okay, feeling pretty good. Eventually gets down close to our team, cuts the 2 other goalies. I'm supposed to be the backup. And I'm like, okay, made the team, all I wanted. So go down to Corpus, visit our billets for a day. And I'm like, all right, this is nice. I'm in the water, meet my family. Taylor's still in touch with them today. So shout out to them. They're amazing. But spend a day there, and then we go up to Dallas for Lone Star for 2 preseason games. So I don't play the first night. I think we end up losing. Doesn't matter preseason. And then I get to go the second night. And I'm feeling good. I'm like, okay, this is where I wanted to be. I'm getting dressed, and I can't really like lean over on like my right side to tie my skates. I'm like, well, I'm not telling anyone because I'll just bring back the other goalies and I'll be
Yeah.
gone. So I'm like, okay, like this is where I want to be. Have a little premonition, like whatever happens, like I wanted to be here. So go in the game, play the first period. It's fine. I think it was like 0-0, 1-0, very nonchalant preseason game. Probably like 2-3 minutes left in the second period. One of the rush guys, Brendan McCormick, takes a penalty, and I guess the Lone Star guy gets so kind of retaliated, take, and a line brawl ensues. This is still preseason, so I'm like, all right, like I have no idea what I'm doing here. So it's like 5-on-4, and the guys were, excuse me, somehow winning. So I'm like, all right, the Harrison Feeney's in the other net, good guy, but probably 2 feet and 50 pounds heavier than me. I'm like, all right, like I was talking to him. He crosses the red line. He's like, let's go, let's go. I'm like, you drop him first. I don't know what to do. Are we gonna wrestle? So I think his coach ends up yelling at him because one of his guys was getting beat up pretty bad. So he's gonna be a third guy in. And I'm like, well, I'm not gonna let that happen.
Yeah.
So I grab him. I'm like, all right, we're just gonna wrestle. Gets my helmet off in probably a split second. I'm like, okay, I have no idea what I'm doing. So we end up on Barstool Sports before the NIL. They used our names, had to take it down, but I got a couple of screenshots while I was up there, of course. But end up getting the win on like the hockey fights account or whatever. So I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I'm 1-0, 100% win rate. So either way, get a win. Face get. He got me a couple of times. Had like a black eye, nice
Yeah.
cut on like my forehead, whatever. I thought I got him once, but either way, I got the takedown, so that's all that mattered. I was ready to go back in the game. The ref's like, "No, you're done. It's a preseason game. No one cares." I'm like, "All right." Shower. We get on the bus. We end up losing the game, but no one really cares. We feel famous at that point.
Yeah.
We get on a bus trip to Shreveport, Louisiana overnight, and we wake up for McDonald's breakfast. And I'm like, dang, like I can't even like swallow my orange juice. So I end up going to a Shreveport urgent care. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me. Like I can't swallow. I feel terrible. I just played a hockey game last night. They blow up both my veins trying to take blood and give me an IV. I'm like, I don't like needles in the beginning. I'm like, this is terrible. Like, I'm going to the hospital. Go to the hospital. They run all these tests. I'm drinking everything they tell me. I'm trying to get an IV because I haven't, been able to eat solid food in like 16 hours at this point. So apparently they call my parents and like, yeah, we're gonna do exploratory surgery on him. I'm like, if anything, we're gonna go back to Boston and they're gonna do it up
Yeah.
there. We're not gonna do it in Shreveport,
No.
Louisiana. So stay in the hospital overnight and had 2 of my teammates, Blake Bennett and Brendan McCormick, stay with me, so I wasn't alone. So that was really nice of them. And wake up, feel fine. I'm like, this is unbelievable. So I eventually found out that day that somehow I was at the very end stages of mono. So I had battled all of training camp, got in the fight, played a hockey game with mono. So when I was getting dressed, they were saying that was probably when your spleen was enlarged. So if anything ruptured that, you would have died. I'm like, well, I'm glad I didn't, but I'm fine now, right? They're like, probably rest. I'm like, well, we're gonna play the Mudbugs. I'm not really worried about those games, but after that, we're
Yeah.
going to Blaine for the showcase. I'm like, they're gonna leave me, and my mom famous quote, "Mother of the Year." She's like, "They can't keep you. Get in the bus and go." So I had one practice before the Blaine showcase, sweat out all everything that was in me still, and ended up making a couple nice games up in Blaine, and talked to my future coach, Coach Belial up there, and kind of the rest is history. So if that didn't happen, wouldn't be here today.
That's a crazy story about what happened. All like it's a great story to tell, but especially to where you are right now, like that's like your start to where to your success. But like just have a crazy story like that in a training camp, like you got the win in the fight, you played a game while all fighting then fighting mono, like
Hmm.
that's a crazy story. And like at least nothing bad happened during that time when you felt that thing in your spleen.
Yeah, right. So been keeping to myself my own water bottle from since the time being, you know. But
Yes, that's
yeah,
pretty smart.
very thankful.
Yeah, but like what do you learn throughout this experience in the NAHL when you go for you make a big jump from the USP to the NAHL? So like what were some of the biggest things you learned that you really brought into your game in college? And I'm sure you still have that with you in pro now.
Yeah, I mean, probably the immediate thing was a short-term memory, like
Yeah.
memory like a goldfish, is like Linus Allmark would say. I remember my first home game in Corpus, got shelled, got probably 6 goals let up, and I'm like, all right, like in front of the first time in front of the home crowd, I'm like, this is great, great first impression. And coach is like, "All right, you good?" I'm like, "Yeah." "Are you going tomorrow?" And then the next, like, all right, like that's how quickly things can change. Though
Yeah.
it's we played the same team, nothing else changed. Maybe our lineup a little bit, but nothing crazy. You know, play the same systems and everything, obviously. So it was that point. It was really like focus on yourself, getting your body right. Like I would go to the chiropractor 3 times a week, right down the street from my house, luckily in Corpus. But just get your body right, mind right, and then things can change so fast that if you're letting up goals in practice, no one knows if you're letting up everything in practice or saving everything when you play the game. So
Yeah.
from that standpoint, I'm like, yeah, like this is no one knows what happened yesterday type of thing. Only you do, and you gotta let it go.
Yeah, it's like you versus you, especially as a goalie. Like we put so much pressure on ourselves sometimes when it's like we really don't. And if we just go out there and play and just have that short-term memory, like it benefits us and like it really helps lead to having a good mindset. And then like it shows in your performance as well. You're not dreading about the goals you gave up the game before, what you've been doing at practice. Like as long as you feel good and you're stopping the puck, that's all that matters.
Yeah, it's all about staying in the moment. I do have a couple of, like breathing exercises. Like I'll just be like, all right, breathe in, breathe out. I'm telling myself to blink, because when you saying that stuff to yourself, it's you couldn't be more in the present moment.
Yeah.
You know, it's not worried about, all right, next shot, I hope I save it. It's like, no, like right now you're just focused on being alive, and then everything else, like we've all trained our whole lives. It doesn't necessarily come easy, but you've been in that position before.
Yeah, that's huge to have like things in your mind to like positive things in your mind. Like mine's like next shot, next save, or one shot, one
Yeah,
save, and stuff like that. And like it really eliminates the power of your brain to be like, oh, like you said, like, am I gonna make this save? Like, what if I don't make this save? But if you're like one shot, one save, like, and then just keep repeating it to yourself, like, makes your job so much easier, and you're finally in the moment compared to if you're just thinking about anything other than stopping the puck.
exactly. Yeah, you want to make saves. You don't want to not let up goals. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
so
and it's all about like
100%.
conserving your energy too throughout the process of being in the moment, because like you're thinking about everything that you're doing currently right this second. It's like you're conserving energy, you're not wandering or anything like that. So that's also beneficial as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. And you need it because there's you never know what could happen in the course of a season, a game, a period. You know, it can all change real fast.
Yeah, exactly. But you also got some NCAA D1 time with AIC, American International College. So what was that experience like for you and getting into AIC, even though you didn't play any games, but like you were there, like what do you learn from experiences like that?
Yeah, so just the process of leaving a nice team in Corpus was hard, but it was needed. So I got the offer on Monday, talked to Coach Lang at AIC, talked to Coach Crothers. He's like, "You want to play Division I hockey? You have a chance to play right here." I'm like, "All right, like let's see what the guys say." So they were all sitting down in the locker room, and I'm like, "All right, guys, you want me to go?" And not a single one said stay. They're like, "You got to go. Like even whatever happens with us, like don't worry about it." I didn't want. I felt like I was abandoning something
Yeah.
that we were building. So I was like, it's not in my DNA to just all right, like I'll leave you guys, I'll try and better myself. Like I want to stay here. But they'll basically jokingly, Ryan Carruthers is like, either you go or I'm gonna trade you to Alaska. I'm like, are you really going? No, but either way you're gonna have to move. I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I get what you're saying. So I had one more practice with them, and we were having the time of our lives. Like one guy scored a rebound goal. He's like, "Yeah, I scored on a Division I goalie." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, sure. I'm still here right now." But either way, joined AIC for that spring semester in 2019, and holy was that a whole different world than I was used to. I'm like, wow, we're back to school. This is I did this before, but I haven't done this in a year and a half. This isn't easy. So that was an adjustment period in itself. But then the guys just really just welcomed me in. Uh, my role was to push the starter and maybe play for games. And I'm like, whatever you need me to do, like I'm here.
Yeah.
So luckily, Zach Skog, I would like to think he got pushed enough because he ended up going to Chicago Blackhawks development camp that summer, and we went on quite a run to cap off that 2019 season.
Yeah, so like obviously you go up to NCAA Division I and it's a whole new ball game. So like what do you learn when you're just practicing every day? Like I know like your role is just to push the starter and like maybe get in a game, but like when you go throughout the season like you're not getting a game, like what do you learn from an experience like that to just continue to push yourself day in and day out and like push the guys ahead of you?
Yeah, I mean, like it was to always be ready, and I mean, you never know when your number's going to be called. I would
Yeah.
always, bring my culture from showing up early, free practice routines to get the body right, to have a nice, effective practice from the moment everyone steps on the ice. And I almost ended up playing a out of conference game against ASU at ASU. Coach Lang pulls me aside that night. He goes, "You want to play?" And at this point, we have like 4 games left in the season. I'm like, regular season. And I'm like, "I'll do whatever you want to do, coach." He goes, "All right, let me think on it." So he ends up not playing me, saying, "I don't want you to burn a year of eligibility just for one game." I'm like, "Thank you." So it ended up helping me in the long run. But I mean, at that point in my career, I'm like, I'll just do whatever the coach says.
Yeah.
I'll play a period if you need me to play a period. But it was just from practices were my games at that point. So it really made me hone in on, all right, if I can give my best in practice, it can translate to the guys on the ice in the game. So it was really just, I mean, every day and win a Stanley Cup, I guess. I wanted to my now, like I'm in action. I'm like, I'm going to keep work, goal you're trying to get. And really important practice was how practices were handled. They know bobbled pucks off. Sometimes, when junior miss a pass, a breakout would like how your skater ever. It was pop on the net with these guys, and that me hit my spots better too. It was like, all right, I know the pass to get there on my feet faster than normally. I can't if I'm behind the play, it's already in the back of the net.
Yeah. Yeah, and like that's a big thing to learn, especially like when you're not getting the game time is you have to take any advantage you can to just treat it as a game and like that's what I did last year and in the Fed as like every practice was my game. Like I'm gonna I have like my pre-practice routine, my post-practice routine, stuck to it like every single day. And like it's all about consistency too. Like if you're continuing to have like those routines that you stick to, like that's how you're gonna be successful no matter if you get in a game or if you're just practicing like whatever it is, like and then just to treat everything like a game and go 100% each rep, and like it makes you so much better when you do that, and then you push yourself constantly every day, and like it helps you become a better goaltender as well.
Exactly, and that affects the team as well. Like when they're seeing that, it's anyone can do it for a week, but can you do it for two? And at that point at AIC, I would like to think I had a part to, even if I wasn't on the ice, to why we beat the #1 ranked St. Cloud that year for the first tournament win in program history.
Yeah. What was that experience like to help or be a part of like the team to do that?
Yeah, I mean, like we fly into Fargo and we're treated like rock stars. We have a private jet. Everyone has a lazy boy seat. We have, basically our hotel suite. I'm like, wow, like I'm right in my little hotel room, just
Yeah.
on the computer writing notes on what I think the St. Cloud goalie is gonna do. Like if we get 15 shots, I'm like, yeah, shoot low blocker. It looks like he missed it one time in his championship game. But I'm like, we were not supposed to win that at all. It was, a Goliath moment,
Yeah.
David and Goliath. And we're like, we're just gonna keep chugging away. We're just gonna try and hold them and then, sneak one by, and somehow we did, and we ended up winning. And I mean, just that moment, it was just we knew what we had in the locker room. So just guys like staying with the routine. It was no one was freaking out like, all right, we're winning. It's okay. It's not over yet. It was the even keel mindset, which really helped me, just like seeing the leaders in the locker room being like, guys, like, don't get too high. If we could be losing 10-0 right now, like it's even keel. So that was a huge moment in my personal development, seeing that
Yeah.
from a leader perspective. I'm like, all right, like we can do this. Unfortunately, back then we didn't have the day in between, so we had some tired legs going up against Denver the following night. So we were one win away from the Frozen Four, but it was definitely a nice benchmark in the AIC program. I'm not. I don't think we've made it back since, or a win since we made the tournament a couple of times. But it's pretty cool to be the first one.
Yeah. You get valuable experience from that, and like you said, like no matter if you're up 10-0, losing 10 rip, like whatever it is, like play the full 60 minutes and you never know what could happen.
Exactly, and just try and have fun while doing it too. Know your
Yeah.
role, and just for me, I was just making sure everyone was all set and kind of praying, honestly.
Yeah, exactly. That's all you can do sometimes is just go out there, have fun, and just do a little praying too that you're doing everything you can.
Right, the
Yeah,
little
but
things.
oh yeah, but then after you're at AIC, you then go to the Division III college hockey at UMass Boston. So like what was that transition like? What went into that decision to transfer? And then that transition period going from D1 to D3 and getting games too.
Yeah, so I mean, it wasn't. I didn't want to. My whole time growing up, I was like, oh, I want to go to one college, and
Yeah.
I'd be like, I already gone to two high schools. I'm like, I don't want to do this again. But at the time, it was just the best from a financial perspective as well as an academic standpoint. Coming from governors, I was pretty keen on getting a good academic education, and UMass ended up offering more of what I wanted to go into. So in the long run, I had to choose UMass, not just playing for hockey. But yeah, it was stepped late onto UMass Boston campus. I had been talking to Coach Belisle for quite some time, and it just kind of worked out perfectly. Honestly, I got stepped on the campus. He's like, "All right, like we want you. Are you gonna want to come here?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "All right, perfect. See you in September." So trained all summer for that, and finally found like I had a home because I felt like for the past year and a half, I was just kind of like, all right, I was in Charlotte, I was in Texas, I was in Springfield, I was just kind of bouncing around. I'm like, all right, I can kind of set up shop here. Like, don't want to get comfortable, but I can make a home and try and make a name for myself here.
Yeah, so like what was that transition going from being practicing D1 every day to going to D3? Like did you notice a big transition or was it all pretty similar?
Pretty similar for the most part. Maybe like I mean the shots were same, if
Yeah.
not like very comparable. I noticed there was a lot bigger bodies almost in D3 because it was more of a all these guys aged out of juniors early or late, I should say, and they're men at this point. They're thick. They're 21-year-old freshmen. No matter who you play, it's like all right, like so screens was different. Battling for loose pucks way more difficult. Um, Maybe the passing wasn't exactly on par as like an AIC every time snapping around, especially in practice or on edge for like on like don't always know if it's gonna go to the guy. It could bump something and go to the trailer and bang, yeah, you could have a wide open net. So it was a little bit more like on my toes. The rinks were different. The environment around the rinks, they weren't all stadiums now. It was maybe bleachers on one side. So my spots were different, hitting in like for the 45 and where I was for trying to get the puck behind the net. So that was a transition. But I guess after freshman year, kind of took that time to adjust, but like to think it happened kind of smoothly.
Yeah, that's good that that the transition was smooth and everything, and you're able to settle right in. Like your first season, you played 11 games, and then you really got going like your junior or your sophomore and junior year with 20 or with 20 games both years, and then your fifth year you played 18 games. So like take us through like those 4 years of you playing at UMass Boston and your experience there and just being able to set up shop there, like you said.
Yeah, so first year, I wouldn't say it was tough, but it was a senior goalie who'd been there, had the program record for wins. He was the guy, and I'm coming in being like supposed to be like taking the reins from him one day,
Yeah.
but there's an overlap obviously. So I'm like, all right, learn from him in practice, doing what I can, push him, steal a couple games from here and there. I don't know. I think I started maybe 7 games, but I went in relief a lot, which was at first I'm like, dang, this is tough. Like coming in, we're not winning the game, and I'm like kind of getting shelled. The guys are like, all right, may have already checked out a little too early. So that made me develop like you never know when your number is going to be called. Like you can literally be thrown in halfway through the first period and
Yeah.
you're expected to win the game. There's no excuses. So the freshman year was tough. I'm not always knowing when it was always be ready. So practices were, practice is great, easy, you're rotating 3 goalies or whatever it was at the time. And then it's the game is like, all right, I was almost always on edge, being like, all right, am I gonna go in? Like, is he hurt? Like type of thing. Like is his skate working good type of thing. So there was so many variables, but that made me just be like, I can't always control those things, but you
Yeah.
control being ready, control your warm up, and you might not be able to control how many shots you're facing in warm up, but you can control what you do off the ice, get your eyes going, hands going, just get a nice little sweat going when you're on the ice, and no matter what, like once you get in the crease, no one cares what you did for the past 2 hours. You're either gonna perform or you're gonna be sitting on the bench.
Yeah, and like that like it is super hard going in relief in games, but like we all have to learn through getting thrown in halfway through get through the game, like halfway in the first period. Like I've had my shares where I've had to jump in 8 minutes into the first period, like halfway through the game, and you just gotta like you're going in cold, like there you have to find ways to battle and find ways to raise that energy so you're ready. Like what were some of the things that you learned from going in relief that you really like got your energy up and got you like focused right away?
Yeah, I mean, just I always want to touch, whether it's a easy, shot or
Yeah.
a rim around. I just wanted to touch the puck to get going. But I mean, it's more just like you're playing. I'm like, I'm playing college hockey right now. I'm living the dream. Like, no matter where you are, you could be at a Norwich, a Hobart, a Babson. Like, people are yelling at you, trying to make the puck go in, even if it is like 4-0 the
Yeah.
opposing team. It's like, all right, like that. I mean, that should get your juices going, and any night, just being like, all right, they still want more. It's like, just because you're in doesn't mean the game's over. I mean, you can look at it like, all right, you're fighting for your stats or anything, but you're just fighting for the next day too. Like, you want to have the team know that they can trust you in any situation. Yeah, you might not be winning a championship that night, but you're gaining valuable experience, and eventually it's going to pay off down the line.
Yeah, exactly. You just got to go in, be ready right away, and find that energy, find what gets the juices flowing. Like everyone want, especially when you come in, everyone wants to put the puck behind you. Like you said, like if it's like 5-0, 6-0, they're gonna want to put a 10 piece on there. Like, but you
Hmm.
obviously they're not getting a 10 piece on me if I'm coming in. But like you just, but like guys are just they're not giving up. They're not giving. They're putting everything they have into it, no matter what the score is.
Exactly. Yeah. So as long as you give them your all, the team will feed off that energy, and who knows, you can always make a nice comeback.
Yeah, exactly. But after your fifth year, you went on to play professional hockey with the Macon Mayhem in the SPHL. So like, what was that fifth year like for you? And then finally getting that pro opportunity in Macon at the end of the year.
Yeah, even like before the 5th year, didn't really touch on it, but my sophomore, junior, senior, 5th year, whatever you want to call it, got a chance to really settle down and like have a nice backbone of the team.
Yeah,
So that was a great experience. Um, it was tough dealing with COVID during my actual sophomore year. So at the time, we couldn't set foot on campus. We didn't have any team lifts. We couldn't meet as a team. We had one Zoom and to figure out our athletic director. She did nothing for us. So we kicked her out, brought someone else new in, and that was the highlight of my sophomore year. I'm like, I'm a NARP this year. I am literally just a college student. So online too.
yeah,
So we some of the guys really took advantage of it. But I'm like, I gotta get ready. Like, this is I should be playing hockey right now. So luckily I was able to have a junior, senior, and then super senior year of kind of being the guy, especially along the way, just having some great teammates, being able to set some program records because of them and the guys in front of me. And yeah, and I'm glad I came back as a 5th year. Didn't have to, but I wanted to lead the program in the best hands possible, try and mentor the younger goalies coming up a little bit, having the opportunity to be one of the captains. So that was really special, and something I'll forever hang my hat on.
yeah. And like just to be able to get that spot, get that starting spot, and be the guy. Like especially when you're working so hard throughout your time at AIC, your first year at UMass Boston, and getting your feet in the door, then finally being able to transition into that starting role. Like, what do you have to learn from that transition into playing a bunch of games? Like, obviously, recovery, nutrition, like all that is even more important than it is when you were the previous years. Like you got to be everything's got to be dialed if you're gonna be playing every night.
Yeah, so Liam can attest to it, but I'm kind of a freak where I don't eat any junk food or same meal all the time. So up on Sunday, real simple, serving chicken thighs and some sort of fish, some beans in there, and make the veggies a night of for 4 days. Spread it out, make pasta or carb for a game, and whatever game meal we get. So that was huge routine. Like, all right, so because I'm not after practice, spend an hour and a half and clean dishes. I want to bed a decent time and do it all again the next day. But then my never changed. I was still the first guy up, last leave, open up the locker room on of the day. The practice from even the culture at Charlotte brought to Corpus, what I had to do at AIC carried and stayed with me from my time at UMass Boston. And I just always wanted to be on the ice. Like if I wasn't in class, I was doing something to try and better myself and for the hockey and the hockey team. So that was huge. And just enjoying the ride. Like for the longest time, I felt like I couldn't really enjoy where I was because I was like, right when I started to enjoy it, I'm gonna be taken away from it. So I was finally meeting, other team members. It would be like, the volleyball team, it could be the baseball team, and just making some friendships, being like, all right, like we're all in this, we're all beacons here. And there was a nice sense of community to support each other on the ice or on the fields. So that was really a special part. But yeah, it's just trying to win the day. It comes down to you got to put your best spot. Everything that you do, you try and better yourself or win the game or practice whatever you have that day.
Yeah, I like how you said that, and just you're trying to win every single day. Like that's one of the things this off season that I've been focusing on is do something to better yourself every single day, even if it's 1% better. Like you're 1% better than you were yesterday. Like just keep building, and that foundation's gonna keep building brick by brick. And like sometimes some days it's hard, like when like you're sore, like stuff like that. Like you sometimes like you obviously lose that motivation to go to the gym and everything, but like you remember like what the goals you set for the season, and that like changes the momentum to be like, I don't want to go to the gym, and you go to the gym anyways because you have those goals for this coming season, and just stuff like that, just finding ways to better yourself, get that 1% better. And like even on like a recovery day, like when you're not skating, you're not working out, like you have an off day, like do mobility, stretch, like eat well, like that's also compounding onto the foundation, even though it might not be like on the ice or in the gym, you're still doing something to better yourself and to give yourself an advantage at the end of the day.
Exactly. And that's how I view it. Is just everything I do, I try and make myself better. So again, Liam can preach about this, but I'm a psycho because I'll take cold showers in the morning as cold as it can go wherever I am. And I'm like, all right, that's my first win of the day. So I'm
Yeah.
like, if I don't do that, I'm already setting myself up for bed every day for the Charlotte Rush. If I don't do that, I'm behind. So it's just the little victories, and you just try and compound them every moment, I guess, whatever you're gonna do. If you're gonna, clean the house that day, you're gonna make sure it's the best possible job you can do. You don't want to cut corners. Like if you're gonna clean a table, are you gonna pick the items up or are you gonna brush around it? Like,
Yeah.
you gotta pick it up and do it right.
Yeah, exactly. If you start the day off with a win, like your day is gonna look so much better and so much brighter because you're gonna want to do even like the smaller wins, and every small win is a win at the end of the day.
Exactly. They add up.
Yeah, exactly. But this year's going into your first full professional hockey season, but you spent time with the Macon Mayhem and the SB last year. At the end of the season, it's like what was that experience like in the SB to get your foot in the door?
Yeah, very valuable. I mean, I signed the contract on a Monday, and then I was down there by Wednesday. So it was a whirlwind of emotions, being like, all right, what do I bring from an off ice standpoint? Like just my whole life that I set up here for 5 at Boston. All right, what do I need that the stuff like I really don't need X, Y, and Z. But yeah, just from a hockey perspective, it was great because now I'm like, I know what the league is, I know the people in it. Um, I would like to think I have a better understanding off the ice from how you should operate as, I guess, a professional hockey player. It was a lot more individualistic than I was used to in college. We would have team meals in college. Everything was to a T. We're on the bus together at a certain time. We have like checkpoints along the way of a game day, and it felt like from my short time in Macon that it was like, all right, eat your food, pay for it, here's some money for it, and then we're gonna play a game tonight at 7 o'clock. Be there for the first meeting. I'm like, all right, are we doing anything in between? Are we doing like, nope, just get there. So it was a different culture from that aspect at the time, but it was more of a learning experience off the ice, knowing like, all right, I can handle this as a person, not only just as a goalie and what's happening on the ice.
Yeah, exactly. It's you have a lot, you have like some growing up to do, like when you go from college to pro, juniors to pro, like just how everything works. Because I mean, it differs from organization to organization, league to league, but like a lot of the things you do off the ice, like is different or could be similar, but like a lot of the time is different from organization to organization, league to league, college to pro. So you just got to figure that out. And then obviously like the big things where it's like you're going up a league or so obviously guys are faster and like you're playing against like men now, like college 21 to
Hmm.
25, but now guys could be 21 to 30, 35, like whatever it may be. And like it's a pro league. So you definitely got to like figure things out and like get situated from that experience, from that point of view.
Yeah, exactly. That's the best way to put it. It's not only a man's game, you're playing men literally,
Yeah.
and like from a again very short sample size, it was pucks on net. No one really missed the net if they were in the right spot to get another chance or back check. And I mean, it was a great experience to be there and understand how it happens and setting myself up for how to train and get ready for a long season instead of just joining for a little bit at the end.
Yeah, exactly. But you got to play in two games in your time in Macon. So like, what were those two games like? Especially that first game that you play in. Like, obviously, I'm sure you're probably nervous. First pro game. Like, take us through that game and like going into pregame, going into the game, stepping on the ice for warm ups, the game, post game. Like, give us everything.
Yeah, it was kind of crazy. So I'll give you a moment. I signed. So I signed on Monday, head down for Wednesday. So I'm in Boston, Mass, drive 14 hours to Charlotte, spend a night at my old coach's house, and then I finished the drive. So it was a total of 18 hours, you know, a day and a half or whatever you want to call
Yeah.
it. So get down there. They don't have ice. It was like the state basketball tournament was going on at the time. So we ended up going to Quad City the following, I think it was like actually that day I arrived. It was that night we're leaving. And to my knowledge, it's the only team in the SP with a coach bus. So I'm snuggled up on a two-seater with a seatbelt going to my side for another 18 or so hours to Quad City. So it was a huge like triangle essentially what I was doing. So like my body was exhausted. I slept for like a day once we got there. Luckily practice. I hadn't practiced for a while since our UMass Boston season ended in the first round of the playoffs. So I really needed a couple of touches to get going again. Luckily got a nice practice in. And we're supposed to have another day of practice, but the ice melted essentially, and it was so bad that they were considered not only not playing the Friday game, but they had to play it, but they couldn't play the game, so they were going to decide the points by a shootout. So they were going to warm up and have only a shootout, and that's how it was. There's too many games to make up. Have the point, great, all four. So I me up and having a shootout to the side game. Wonder what those stats would have looked like. Um, something happened, and I got more skated. The game was done. Coach is like, "Don't worry, you skate when we yeah." Every second, we had a lot of tryout, a lot of new guys that weekend. So I didn't know that the systems were what they were, but we were going against a streaking Quad City team at the time and got shelled. I think the goalie let in like 4 goals on whatever in the first like 10 minutes, and the coach just looks at me. So I didn't really have a chance to be nervous. I was not expecting to play. I warmed up like I was going to play, but I was sitting on the bench. I actually took my helmet off. I'm like, can I do that? And the trainer was like, yeah, you have dental now. You can do it if you really want to. I'm like, my mom paid for the teeth, so okay. So I'm sitting on the bench with my helmet on. I'm like, all right. Like, then the coach looks at me. He's like, all right, go in. And I just got thrown into the fire. And at that point, I'm like, I could let up 100 goals. I'm just here for a great experience, get my feet wet, and is what it is. But it was a great experience of knowing what the league is, meeting the guys, and getting that first pro taste of that atmosphere. So game went how it was. We ended up getting blown out. I started the next night a little bit better of a start, but again, it was just a overpowering Quad City team that dismantled us. So we're having a post game meal afterwards, and the culture standpoint definitely wasn't where I would have liked it to be. We were the bottom dwellers. I was joining that. I knew what I was getting myself into, but it wasn't a lot of like feeling sorry for yourself. It was like, all right, turn the page, and which was nice in some standpoint. But I'm like, the captain was he was feeling bad for the goalies. That was one of the messages. He's like, you guys got to play for these guys. Like, these guys are new this weekend. This is their first taste. So another long bus ride back, and yeah, so that was wasn't promised a long time. Some of the goalies they were on injured. One was injured in the coast, so then he came back. So my time was very limited, and I knew that I was getting myself into. But just wanted to get that experience, and then ended up driving 18 hours home pretty soon after that. But definitely glad I did it. It was a whirlwind of a short period of time, but yeah, wouldn't change it for the world.
Yeah, it's good experience no matter what, no matter how you do. Like you get valuable experience, and you can play at the at that level now. And you signed with Quad City for camp, and you also are signed with Carolina and the Fed. So like, how excited are you to start the year in Quad City, and whatever happens happens, and then like how excited are you to get things going?
Yeah, I mean, control what you control. So like,
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to end up. I'm just going to try and stop the puck wherever I am, and luckily have 2 great spots that I could end up in. So yeah, I mean, I couldn't be more pumped. It's just everything happens for a reason, how it
Yeah.
should. So maybe previously I would have been a little bit stressed, being like, all right, I got to try and do this and that, try and stick. But I'm almost like, I know I can stop the puck. It's why I'm here and why I'm getting this opportunity. At the end of the day, it's an opportunity that shouldn't be taken for granted, but just appreciated. It's
Yeah.
getting a chance to play pro hockey, living the dream. So, I mean, no complaints. And wherever I do end up, you never, like, life as a goalie. It doesn't have to
You
be
never know
forever.
what's
It
gonna
can
happen.
exactly. It can be, in one city one night and you're driving to another. So just because you make a team for a weekend doesn't mean you're staying there for a
Yeah.
year. So just pumped to play and win some games, basically.
Yeah, there you go. You're just living the dream, and no complaints, and that's all you can do. We've all dreamed of this moment, so you just got to go out and enjoy it.
Exactly. So yeah, very excited and couldn't come soon enough.
Yeah, exactly. But I have a few more questions before we wrap things up here. So obviously, like we're both in a similar situation. We're both 5'10", 5'11", so like both smaller goalies, and like so like what how important is it for especially us as smaller goalies to really hone our craft, and like what do you do to help separate yourself even as a smaller goalie compared to like bigger goalies?
Yeah, I mean, like you can, you know, almost complain and being like, "Oh, I would love an extra inch or two,"
Yeah.
but you're a size for your reason, and you know, God did that for a reason. So to separate, I hate to sound like a coach, but you almost have to be exponentially better than any taller goalie.
Yeah.
So if a taller goalie can do whatever 90% of the time, you can't match him because he's going to look the part all the, like just that much better than you. You got to be better than him in everything he does. So you can harp on him being like, all right, like I got to try and beat another guy or another type of goalie, but it's you're battling yourself every day. It's not so much like not trying to you got to be yourself, you
Yeah.
know. So you don't want to copy a playing style. You can watch a UC Saros, you know, you can watch some of the smaller goalies like a Dustin Wolf, you know, they play a certain way, and then they'll have a Connor Hellebuyck, Andre Vasilevsky, they'll play a certain way. They're all getting chances. They're all, you know, all-star caliber goalies in their own regard. So I would just say just really just focus on what you're good at, and when you're not good at, just get better at, in the sense of you have to know you're already at a disadvantage just
Yeah.
based on how you look in the net.
Yeah. You have to hone your craft and be better than everyone else at the end of the day. Like whether it be like your skating's got to be faster, like you got to be able to hit your spots that much quicker than these bigger goalies can do. Like there's a lot that goes into it, but if you just focus on like you're just getting those weaknesses to be your strengths, like and just really dig in on that and just hone your craft and hone your skill, like that, like whatever happens at the end of the day happens. But if you keep working at it, like something 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 good is bound to happen, no matter what size you are, like how big, how small, like how heavy, how light you are, like if you keep working at it, like something's bound to happen, something good's bound to happen.
Exactly. And like you said, just you can control what you can control.
Yeah.
Like skating, you can work on that every day. And I mean, that's a huge piece of goaltending. If you're in the right spots, sometimes the puck's going to hit you, no matter
Yeah.
what size you are.
Yeah, exactly. But I think this is a great place to wrap this episode up. So Sam, thank you again for coming on the show. I really appreciate your time and want to wish you the best of luck with Carolina, Quad City, wherever you end up. I want to wish you the best of luck there.
Thank you. And you as well, Jack. Happy to be here. Sorry it took so long, but yeah, definitely happy we connected and got this done. Couldn't be happier to do so.